Hare Krishna. Welcome back to our online Swadhyaya reading retreat labs. So we were continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, canto number 9. So in the last series, we have completed the chapter number 4, right? And today we are going to start with a new chapter, and that is chapter number 5 of canto number 9. That is Durvasa Muni's life spared. Okay. So as usual, I will be also sharing with you the mind map. So let me share my mind map, and also I'm having the hard copy with me. This is the ninth canto hard copy. And if you're not having this, then you can always prefer to go to the nearest ISKCON center and you can take this book. Now let me share my mind map. Yes. So hope you are able to see my mind map. So this entire chapter is having total 28 verses, and we are dividing into as per three segments. It is as per the Srimad Bhagavatam Subodhini series, and we are dividing into three segments. So the first segment will be talking about the first to 11th verse, which are going to cover today. So here we will be seeing how Ambarīṣa Mahārāja offering prayers to Sudarśana chakra. Okay. So now without any delay, let's move on to the Vedabase. At the same time, I'm also having the online Vedabase. Those who do not have Srimad Bhagavatam hard copy, you can directly go to the canto number 9, chapter number 5, Durvasa Muni's life spared. Okay. Now let's move on to the chapter number 5. First of all, there is a summary. So let's continue. In this chapter, we find Maharaj Ambarīṣa offering prayers to the Sudarśana cakra, and we find how the Sudarśana chakra became merciful to Durvasa Muni. By the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, Durvasa Muni immediately went to Maharaj Ambarīṣa and fell at his lotus feet. Maharaj Ambarīṣa, being naturally very humble and meek, felt sigh and ashamed because Durvasa Muni had fallen at his feet, and thus he began to offer prayers to the Sudarśana Chakra just to save Durvasa. What is the Sudarśana Chakra? The Sudarśana Chakra is the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by which he creates the entire material world. This is the definition of Sudarśana Chakra. Sa Aisakta Sa Ashtrajata. This is the Vedic version. Sa Aikasta Sa Ashtrajata. The Sudarśana Chakra, which is the origin of creation and is the most dear to the Lord, has thousands of spokes. The Sudarśana Chakra is the killer of prowess of all other weapons, the killer of darkness, and the manifester of the prowess of the devotional service. It is the means of establishing religious principles, and it is the killer of all irreligious activities. Without his mercy, the universe cannot be maintained, and therefore the Sudarśana Chakra is employed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When Maharaj Ambarīṣa thus prayed that the Sudarśana Chakra be merciful, the Sudarśana Chakra being appeased, refrained from the killing Durvasa Muni, who thus achieved the Sudarśana Chakra's mercy. Durvasa Muni thus learned to give up the nasty idea of considering a Vaishnava an ordinary person. Vaishnave Jati Buddhi. Maharaj Ambarīṣa belonged to the Kshatriya group, and therefore Durvasa Muni considered him lower than the Brahmanas and wanted to exercise Brahminical power against him. By this incident, everyone should learn how to stop mischievous ideas of neglecting Vaishnavas. After this incident, Maharaj Ambarīṣa gave Durvasa Muni sumptuous food to eat, and then the king, who had been standing in the same place for 1 year without eating anything, also took prasada. Maharaj Ambarīṣa later divided his property among his sons and went to the back of the Manasa Sarovara to execute devotional meditation. Let's move on to the text number 1. So in this, as we have said, we will be covering total 11 verses. So let's move on to this. SB 9.5.1. As usual, we will not be reading the sloka and synonyms, these things. We will be covering them in the sloka recitation lab, where we'll be reciting all the slokas with word by word verses. We'll be focusing only on the translation in this series, right? Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, when thus advised by Lord Vishnu, Durvasa Muni, who was very much harassed by the Sudarshana Chakra, immediately approached Maharaja Ambarīṣa. Being very much aggrieved, the Muni fell down and clasped the king's lotus feet. Verse number 2, translation. When Durvasa touched his lotus feet, Maharaj Ambrish was very much ashamed, and when he saw Durvasa attempting to offer prayers because of mercy, he was aggrieved even more. Thus, he immediately began offering prayers to the great weapon of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Verse number 3, translation. Maharaj Ambarish said, O Sudarshana Chakra, you are fire, you are the most powerful sun, and you are the moon, the master of all luminaries. You are water, earth, and sky. You are the air, you are the five sense objects, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. And you are the senses also. Verse number 4. Translation. O most favorite of Achyuta, the supreme personality of Godhead, you have thousands of spokes, O master of the material world, destroyer of all weapons, original reason of the personality of Godhead. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Kindly give shelter and be auspicious to the Brahmana. Verse number 5, translation. O Sudarshana will, you are a religion, you are truth, you are encouraging statements, you are sacrifice, and you are the enjoyer of the fruits of sacrifice. You are the maintainer of the entire universe, and you are the supreme transcendental prowess in the hands of the supreme personality of Godhead. You are the original reason of the Lord, and therefore you are known as Sudarshana. Everything has been created by your activities, and therefore you are all pervading purport. The word Sudarshana means auspicious reason. From Vedic instructions, we understand that this material world is created by the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sa Aikasta Sa Ashajata. The Supreme Personality of Godhead glanced over the Mahat Tattva, or the total material energy, and when it was agitated, everything came into existence. Western philosophers sometimes think that the original cause of creation was a chunk that exploded. If one thinks of this chunk as a total material energy, the Mahatattva, one can understand that the chunk was agitated by the glance of the Lord, and thus the Lord's glance is the original cause of material creation. Verse number 6, translation. O Sudarshana, you have a very auspicious hub, and therefore you are the upholder of all religion. You are just like an inauspicious comet for the irreligious demons. Indeed, you are the maintainer of the three worlds. You are full of transcendental effulgence. You are as quick as the mind, and you are able to work wonders. I can simply utter the word Namaha, offering all obeisance unto you. Purport. The disc of the Lord is called Sudarshana because he doesn't discriminate between high and low criminals or demons. Durvasa Muni was certainly a powerful Brahmana, but his acts against the pure devotee, Maharaj Ambrish, were no better than the activities of Asuras. Is stated in the Shastras, Dharmam tu Sakshat Bhagavata Pranitam. The word Dharma refers to the order of laws given by Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva Dharma Paritajya Mamekam Saranam Braja. Real Dharma is a surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, real Dharma means bhakti or devotional service to the Lord. The Sudarshana Chakra is here addressed as Dharma Setade, the protector of Dharma. Maharaj Ambarish was a truly religious person, and consequently, for his protection, the Sudarshana Chakra was ready to punish even such a strict Brahmana as Durvasa Muni. because he had acted like a demon. There are demons even in the form of Brahmanas. Therefore, the Sudarshana Chakra doesn't discriminate between the Brahmana demons and Sudra demons. Anyone against the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees is called a demon. In the Shastras, we find many Brahmanas and Kshatriyas who acted as a demons and have been described as demons. According to the verdict of the Shastras, one has to be understood according to his symptoms. If one is born of a Brahmana father, but his symptoms are demoniac, he is regarded as a demon. The Sudarshana Chakra is always concerned with annihilating the demons. Therefore, he is described as Adharma Silasurad Huma Ketave. Those who are not devotees are called Adharma Sila. The Sudarshana Chakra is just like an inauspicious comet for all such demons. Moving to the next verse number 7. Translation: O master of speech, by your effulgence full of religious principles, the darkness of the world is dissipated, and the knowledge of the learned persons of great souls is manifested. Indeed, no one can surpass your effulgence, for all things manifested and unmanifested, gross and subtle, superior and inferior, are but various forms of you that are manifested by your effulgence. Purport: without illumination, nothing can be seen, especially in this material world. The illumination in this world emanates from the effulgence of Sudarshana, the original vision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The illuminating principles of the sun, the moon, and fire emanate from Sudarshana. Similarly, illumination by knowledge also comes from Sudarshana, because with the illumination of Sudarshana, one can distinguish one thing from another. The superior from the inferior. Generally, people accept a powerful yogi like Durvasa Muni as wonderfully superior. But if such a person is chased by the Sudarshana Chakra, we can see his real identity and understand how inferior he is because of his dealings with devotees. Moving to the next verse number 8. Translation: O indefatigable one, when you are sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to enter among the soldiers of the Daityas and the Danavas, you stay on the battlefield and unendingly separate their arms, bellies, thighs, legs, and heads. Verse number 9. Translation: O protector of the universe, you are engaged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his all powerful weapon in killing the envious enemies. For the benefit of our entire dynasty, kindly favor this poor Brahmana. This will certainly be a favor for all of us. Verse number 10. If our family has given charity to the proper persons, if we have performed ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices, if we have properly carried out our occupational duties, and if we have been guided by learned Brahmanas, I wish in exchange that this Brahmana be free from the burning caused by the Sudarshana Chakra. Verse number 11. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second, who is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities, and who is the life and soul of all living entities, is pleased with us, we wish that this Brahmana, Durvasa Muni, be free from the pain of being burned. So, with this, we completed the first segment. So, how we have seen, just to summarize, how Ambarīṣa Mahārāja is offering prayers to Sudarshana Chakra. So, that we have seen today's session. So, in the next session, we will be covering from verse number 12 till verse number 24. So, we'll stop here. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.